Definitely a different vibe being on this show. Mm-hmm. I actually, for the first time ever, enjoyed being on TV.
Hi, I'm Mary Solosi from Entertainment Weekly, and I'm here with Cynthia Bailey, Kenya Moore, Kyle Richards, Teresa Giudice, Melissa Gorga, Luann de Lesseps, and Ramona Singer from Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. When you went on the girls trip, who did you all already know? I mean, apart from people on your own franchise cast, who did you already know from the rest of the girls trip cast?
I already had a great relationship with Melissa and Kyle Richards, so traveling with them together on this group girls trip was really extra special. But then I really got to know Teresa intimately. I really had no idea anything about her. My opinion completely changed, which you'll find out why and how on the show. And Cynthia is just a class act, and she just definitely lives up to the image I always thought about.
I actually had a relationship with all the other ladies. I've been out with all of them. I have a relationship with Ramona. We've been to events and dinners. Cynthia and I have done stuff together. We have mutual friends. Kyle and I have been to Vegas together and had many date nights with our husbands. And Kenya and I have worked together on multiple things too. So I actually went in knowing all of them.
I, of course, knew Kenya the most because we worked together and we're friends off the show as well. And I also have a really great close relationship with Luann. I've known her for years as well. I was at her wedding. Like, we've always, had a great relationship.
I've met Ramona out. I've been to a few times, and I've heard things about Ramona also that I was like, you know what, I'm not going to judge her. I'm going to get to know her for her. So you'll see how that plays out on the season. Kenya, I've worked with Kenya before. And Kyle, we did Andy Cohen's baby shower together. So, I knew Kyle. And Luann, again, we did an appearance together, and we had the best time ever.
Kyle came by herself, and I was like, well, why aren't they sending Kyle by herself? Because I know that Kenya was coming with Cynthia. And I was like, what happened in Beverly Hills? But anyway, that's just how it panned out. But I went with Ramona. I knew Kyle, but not well. And I didn't know Kenya.
I had met all of these women at some point or another at different NBC, Bravo, and now I guess Peacock events. So, but I didn't know any of them well. So I really was going in completely, blind. I didn't have Beverly Hills, wingman with me, and I was just like, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and wing this. I have no idea why I'm being sent on my own.
Lying.
Could be a little bit of a red flag, but
Kyle
I'm all in.
Lying. We slept together 15 years ago. She doesn't remember, but okay. Anyway, Kyle. Anyway, that's how you treat your exes. That's fine.
Normally on cast trips, there's sort of one sort of mastermind behind the vacation, but did this one have a hostess, or was Bravo kind of the unseen hostess, or Peacock?
Well, Peacock obviously brought us all together. My husband did get the house for us. The agency has an office in Turks and Caicos, so I got the house. But we each hosted a different night, so it was all of us hosting.
I think they kind of tossed out that whole veil of production along the way. It's like, listen, you girls can't pretend you're getting together and that you all know each other. They just kind of said, you know what, we're just going to tell the real story, which is what makes the show so interesting.
On a normal season, I know you can't talk about Bravo or about being Real Housewives or break the fourth wall or acknowledge that you're on a show. But for this one, there's kind of no pretending that Bravo didn't bring you together.
I think we should always be able to break the fourth wall, because what happens is a lot of things happen off the show that you guys don't get to see. I think it is everything to be able to say, no, yeah, this happened in the scene, but this didn't happen in the scene.
I agree with that. It was so refreshing to be able to talk about our experiences. That's kind of what makes this so much different from the regular Housewife franchise, is that we talked about the fact that we are on reality TV and how our shows, function and how their shows function. And it was interesting to see like the similarities and the differences, just talking about the reunions, just about everything in general and how kind of crazy it is that we're all in this world.
We also discussed how we all got casted for the show, which that conversation never comes up. And it was very interesting how everyone even came to be a housewife, because I get asked that a lot, but I had no idea the process that the other ladies from the different franchises, what they went through.
It's definitely a different vibe being on this show.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, for the first time ever, enjoyed being on TV. Being on the top, you always get like attacked, and this was like we supported each other. It was like amazing. Like it was like women supporting women. Like I'm all about that and about empowerment. And it's like, like my show, totally different vibes, So it's like this show, I actually enjoyed it.
We got to talk about the things that we all have to go through in terms of like social media and people hating on you. And in one year they love you and one year they hate you. And, so we got to talk about all those things. We got to break the fourth wall. So it's completely different than a regular Housewives show.
We got to learn so much about each other. We just talked like girlfriends. It is the best trip we've ever had as housewives. I think, at least I can speak for myself, because we just talked as Kenya and as Luann and as Kyle and just girlfriend to girlfriend, and without trying to kind of recalibrate in our heads how it's supposed to sound to the audience. We could say housewives on this show. We kind of like just spoke very liberally. And it was just really cool.
I was there as not only a fellow housewife, but as a fan of the other franchises. So it was very, very interesting to me.
Yes, I agree. I was a fan. I was such a fan. Goodbye, Kyle. Goodbye. I totally fanned out on that moment. Like it was everything to me.
And I was singing Luann's songs all the time.
Yes, you were.
Oh my God. I'd be passing by Kyle's room and I would literally hear her going, money can't buy you clothes.
I understand that confessionals were also different, that you were doing them in real time rather than filming them after the fact.
That was hysterical. Like maybe Melissa would be filming a confessional and I'd like jump in and we all jump in together. And it was really funny. It was very different. And I think very entertaining.
I think that was my favorite thing. We can just randomly walk into a room and like push a button and there's like a big round light on you and you just start talking with your drink in your hand, and half the time you're a little tipsy. But you say like what you really feel in the moment, opposed to when we do our interviews a couple weeks later or whatever it is. So I'm actually very excited to watch that part. I think that's going to be the most fun part of the whole show, to be honest, are those interviews.
That was the craziest part to me. I would be sound asleep, 7 a.m., a bright light would go on above my head, pop on, and I would be like, within 3 minutes, I would hear knock, 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 knock. Kyle, can we put a mic on you? And I was like, I haven't even washed my face. I don't even have my glasses or my contact. I need to brush my teeth. I need to pee. What is this? And then I would get up and like wash my face. And then they'd say, could we get you for an interview really quickly? I'm like, what is happening? So I did one of my interviews with a towel on my head and coffee in my hand. Other interviews after drinking all night. And other ones just like people coming in and sitting next to me. I was like, what the heck is happening? It's just like chaos.
But, the trips are a lot of work. I mean, typically when we film Housewives, the longest days that we have are those trips because they film us longer than we would normally like living within our cities. So, we go out to lunch or we go to a party or we have this or we have that and we go home. This is when we're traveling like this on these trips, they're filming us most of the day. And then, when you think you're done on this trip specifically, it's like, oh, can we get you for an interview? And it's like, oh my God, I just want to go to sleep. We had really long days. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun because the energy was really good. So
there was zero downtime.
And we were doing a lot of stuff. It was tiring, but it was a lot of fun, but it was tiring. It was a lot of work.
I mean, to me as a viewer, this sort of feels like a new era in Housewives. Like it's heralding a new time for the franchise. It's gotten big enough that it can refer back to itself in this way. From your perspectives, having been with the franchise for all these years, did you feel that way? Did it feel like sort of a new era for the Housewives?
It's been 13 seasons now for New York, and it was like a totally different trip because there was no New York kind of competitiveness. There was, Beverly Hills, there was Atlanta, there was Jersey. It's a really fun trip, unlike sometimes the trips can be crazy, and this trip is crazy fun.
The Housewives trips are always like the biggest part of the season. So this show, The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, and bringing all these different women from the different franchises together, the fact that it was the first time doing this was exciting. You know, I felt like honored to be a part of it. And I was looking at these women like, okay, I'm so curious because obviously people have an idea of who we are. Obviously, they're watching our lives all these years. But I'm wondering, you know, are they going to be like they are on television? Are they going to be completely different? Because I know that, you know, from our shows, some people, past or present, maybe be different in person than they are in real life.
Even though you're a housewife and you're on a show, you can still fan out for other people. So for me, knowing that, oh, I'm a fan of Kyle, oh, I'm a fan of Melissa, oh, I'm a fan of this one or that one. And just to be excited to be around them for an extended period of time and shooting together. It was just like a real honor. And we just got to be fans as well as stars.
Luann mentioned that a normal season, you know, she said the sort of competitiveness was gone of being, you know, with your own city castmates. But I have to ask, how did room selection go? Because that typically is a sort of a competitive scene.
It was definitely a major part of the show. There was a major discussion and major things
The only
happened.
thing
So you
I
have to tune in
wanted
to see
was
it.
a bathtub. That's all I asked for. I said I want a bathtub.
Ramona was on the trip, so you can only guess how the room selection went.
Stay tuned. The room selection is what actually sparked the first drama. Let's just say that.
No,
Right
Kyle,
out of
you're
the
forgetting
gate.
About the plane.
Yeah.
You're forgetting
I was
about the
not
plane
prepared.
ride.
There was some words flying.
It was some
Along
F's
with the
flying,
private
some
jet. Let's just say
F-bombs
that.
Yeah.
that were flying on the jet
Yes,
with
there's
us.
We hadn't even touched down
There were
yet.
F-bombs on the airplane, on the G.
There were F-bombs on the G with the OGs. That should be a new song. F-bombs.
Oh my gosh, a new Countess Luann single.
That's Luann's new cabaret show.
Just start writing
F-bombs on the
this
G
down.
with the OGs. I like it.
I'm curious, what's the story behind the TikTok seen around the world that went totally viral of you guys dancing on the beach? So I spoke to other ladies last week, and Kenya said it was her inspiration, and then Melissa had the social media savvy to make it happen. What happened there? How did that come together?
Well, you're looking at the wizard behind the Cape, honey.
It was Kenya's day to host, and she would not stop asking me all day because she knew that I was the one that was going to probably have to make it happen. So she was like, we got to do a TikTok.
I knew I wanted to do a TikTok that day, but of course I am the worst at social media. So I knew Melissa is like the best at social media because she's on there 24/7. She's always doing all these
Fun TikToks and fun videos.
Yeah, Melissa's always doing fun TikToks and videos, and she just seems very savvy. So I said, Melissa, I know you're the girl that can make this happen.
To give all the ladies credit here, one shot. Like it was like possibly 2 takes.
I didn't even know what was going down. I was just like, oh, okay, we'll do a little dance. I had no idea. So otherwise, I would have put a little bit more effort into it.
The producers were in the background screaming at me, like, Melissa, no more TikTok. We have to go. We have to go. And we had the most gorgeous setting in the background, like the most gorgeous setting you can imagine of this like water and beach. And we are rushing as fast as we can to just get this TikTok in.
Yeah.
We don't even know what we're doing. We're creepy crawl. I don't know what's going on.
I'm so uncoordinated now, and they're saying do this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a somersault. I'm out of
doing
here.
like cartwheels. Like, what is Kyle doing?
I didn't know so many people were gonna see that thing.
If you guys were to go on this trip again, you could bring one more housewife from any franchise, who would you want to bring?
Lisa Rinna, because she's so funny with her dancing. Because I like somebody to get me going on the dance floor, so maybe Lisa Rinna.
Yeah.
I agree with Teresa. If we could add one more to the already 7 that went, I would have added Lisa Rinna. Kyle wasn't represented by 2 people. Every other, we had Atlanta 2, New York 2, New Jersey 2.
Right.
And poor Kyle was like, she felt like, oh, it's the only girl from Beverly
Yeah,
Hills.
I actually
So it
wish
would've been
we
fun to
had
Lisa
2 Beverly
join, I
Hills
think.
girls. Like
Me too.
I like that. It felt good to be in 2s, and Kyle was kind of on her own. And I actually thought that Lisa was going to be a part of the cast. To be honest, she's definitely a good time. But if I had to pick someone other than Lisa, who we all love, I would say Karen Hooger from Potomac.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Lisa too. And I agree that there should have been another Beverly Hills girl, just because inside of everything, the pairs also had their own drama from their own shows. And Kyle was like home free on that. Like she didn't have anyone else with her. Yeah, so, Teresa and I had our little thing, and Ramona and Luann and Cynthia and Kenya, and it's like Kyle's just like, oh, what's wrong with y'all? I'm like, she needs her person too.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there should have been two.
Because the people that you actually work with the most on your own show is the one that you have the most history with and the most, that you have you're most emotional about. So absolutely. Right. So I definitely felt like Kyle kind of got off as well, Melissa, because there was no one.
I wanted to see how she would be with the cast member.
Yeah.
I thought for me personally, I was like, Kyle came by herself, and I'm a big fan of Lisa Rinna, and I thought Lisa Rinna would have been great on the trip, so I would have brought Lisa Rinna, I think.
Yeah, I really wanted Lisa Rinna to come. We had talked about it, and she kept saying, it was really sweet because all the Beverly Hills girls were checking on me all the time. Like, how's it going, honey? Are you okay? Is everyone being nice? It was like, who? And then I'm hearing about how everyone's backstabbing on these other franchises. I'm like, meanwhile, Beverly Hills is checking on me. I was like, this is shocking. So nice. But no, it would have been fun to have Lisa Rinna there for sure.
I have to second that. I love Lisa Rinna. She is such good TV, but she's a fun personality. And you just never know what's going to come out of her mouth. So I'm here for it. Like, she has that great, delicate mix of being great TV. She's a pot stirrer, but you love her and hate her at the same time. Like, it's just the most fascinating thing to watch on TV. So I'm such a huge fan of Rinna.
Looks like we got to do this again with Rinna.
Would you guys go on vacation with this group again?
They surpassed all of our expectations. I mean, you're going to see boats and horses and estates and lunches and dinners and fireworks.
It was fun. There was
Absolutely.
Definitely moments of bonding and sisterhood. And then there were arguments, but I felt like at the end of the day, the respect was always there. I definitely walked away from this trip feeling like I knew everyone a lot better than I did before.
I think we all knew we were the first round, and we were sure there was going to be many others following us, but we wanted to set the tone as the first ones and go in the right way, so that we were tough shoes to fill. Mm-hmm. We wanted to set that tone.